Spider's back! Spider's back!
Spider here. So listen up, sports and football fans in Canada and around the world. If you want to see no more repetitive, unappealing two-down football stops in the red zone in the CFL, and no more boring, predictable, distasteful, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals in the red zone in the CFL, which are the two biggest turnoffs and killers of a CFL three-down game of football, that will be remarkably completely eliminated with SPYDER's super exciting proposed in the CFL red zone rule, and will remarkably guarantee an 18% increase of 50 more touchdowns scored in the red zone in the CFL than chant loud in the red zone in the CFL game live. We want SPYDER's CFL red zone rule. We want SPYDER's CFL red zone rule that the NFL cannot steal, because it unequivocally would not work with four-down football, but work naturally like it's tailor-made for CFL three-down football. That's there every single CFL game, staring the CFL right in the eye, just waiting to be adopted. And when you have a Canadian sports legend like Steve Armitage, who has done 27 Grey Cups, give SPYDER's proposed in CFL red zone rule his stamp of approval, and Rob Vanstone, a Canadian icon sports writer, say after the 2021 CFL season that SPYDER, the CFL, couldn't have written a better script to prove why your SPYDER CFL red zone rule should be made part of our CFL three-down game of football. And Farhan Laji, a popular TSN CFL sports reporter and CFL broadcaster, say that if it came to a vote, that he would vote to have my SPYDER CFL red zone rule adopted by the CFL. Then you know you have something really big. So CFL fans, instead of booing loud when your home CFL team on offense refuses to go for a third down in the red zone to score a touchdown in the CFL, unless they are on the 1-yard line, chant loud in the red zone in the CFL game live. We want SPYDER's CFL red zone rule.
We want SPYDER's CFL red zone rule.
That's a real game changer and will be the most innovative and the biggest new CFL rule ever adopted by the CFL. That's full of drama, and it will make CFL three-down football a lot more entertaining and a lot more exciting brand of CFL three-down football to watch and be part of. And that will pack all CFL stadiums and make them
soar and roar
throughout the CFL with SPYDER's super exciting
CFL red zone rule. Is that fun or what? That's fun, isn't it? That's what we have to do. I have to do. I want to try to, the reason I play that first, because I want to try to, Jamie Nine's going to be at the Grey Cup, and I know he's really interested in seeing what the heck, and now when Brosie's out, Jamie Nine will allow, I know if I called in, he'll allow me to put that over the air, a 2-minute blitz. He'll allow me to do it, guaranteed. I know he will. Because he was very interested in my rule. I was on there one time and talked about it for several minutes, and he was really interested in it because they were looking at it at the time. I can tell you, I know a lot of people didn't like Glenn Johnson, but if he would have became commissioner, my rule would have been adopted. He had people interested, CEOs. He had owners interested. Like, he had enough people to get a vote. He was going to form a CFL Innovation Rules Committee and put those people on, and some GMs too, and it would have been made part of the CFL three-down game of football. And Mark Cohen would have made it too, because he became the first person to be interested in my CFL red zone rule. It's too bad he's not coming back. They're making a huge mistake by not going after Mark Cohen. I can tell you that much. I can move over now, I think, and get a little closer to you. Anyway. Yeah, so that's what I plan on doing. I also, on the Grey Cup, for 2026, okay? I said I'd go over that in this session, and at the end I'm going to try to find Brad's McDonald, what he said on one of my, I have to go, I'll do that later to go on. I'll keep the show rolling, but Stampeders. The Calgary Stampeders, they get the 2026 Grey Cup, even with their old stadium. So why is that? It's not because of Ambrosie, I can tell you that much, and Dozy. It's not because of that, but it's because of the Big O. For instance, the new owner of the Montreal Alouettes, it's only his second year. The Big O is not ready to 2027. The renovation's $250 million or whatever it is for the new roof, whatever, and there's other renovations inside as well. It's going to be more conducive for football size like field, and more conducive for football, to watch football actually. So that's a good thing. And I think you'll see a Grey Cup. I'll be going to that to 2027 if I'm still alive, and 2026 because I got I'm going to have a huge blitz because I got new brochures, and I have now, right? My son and I both have. I have my SPYDER CFL Red Zone Rule jersey, so, and my new SPYDER CFL Red Zone Rule hats, and I'm going to come up with some other things, some things to give out too. I think I'm going to have. I have lots of brochures, but I'm going to try to come up with some other little giveaways too on my CFL Red Zone Rule to promote it at the 2026 Grey Cup in Calgary, because my son lives there and so forth, and so I'm going to go out on a Wednesday or Tuesday, Wednesday, be there all week till following Tuesday, whole week. Spend time with my son and his new wife, and I was out there, of course, at the home opener for the Stampeders that beat the Bill Levi Mitchell and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Too bad they had a horrible season. But anyway, so let's get back to why the bids. Well, okay, why Edmonton? Well, the owner just only owned the team less than half a year, not even that, the latter part of the year. So I mean, he's not going to get it first year. So you had two bids, Edmonton and you had Calgary. And Calgary with their old stadium, and they're not going to build a new stadium in 2 years. They may put some, I'm going to send a thing to the CEO, Mr. McNeil, and just say, you need to put some more back seats in. You need to widen the concourses and renovate them somewhat, and you need more washroom, and do that. That's enough. And then look for a new location to build a new stadium within the next 5 or 7 years. That's what they need to do, because they're building a new Calgary Flames NHL hockey arena there. They got that approved finally. So that's what I think that's probably going to happen. And the mayor seems keen. I think that the lady seems really good, and the province. I think they would have to spend that much, you know, spend $50 million or something, you know, because they're not going to have a new stadium in 5 to 7 years. So anyway, but it's a good opportunity for really to really blitz on my new room, and then there'll be new commissioner as well. I hope he's not a Randy Ambrosie. The thing with McNeil, he's a guaranteed Canadian, just like Ambrosie was, or not O-lineman, but guaranteed ratio player as the CEO, like Miller is for Winnipeg, and this is not good. This is not good. This is not good to be hiring these people. They're so biased, Canadian players are so biased. You're never going to get their vote to get rid of the Canadian, but the owners have to shut down the Canadian Players Association. Shut them down and get rid of the Canadian ratio. It's the only way it's going to happen. Because the Canadian Players Association, like I said, it's all biased. Their majority members are all Canadian players. They're running the CFL into the ground. They're basically running the CFL. The CFL owners aren't running the CFL, and they have the majority of votes. So that's the only way it's going to happen, and it has to happen. It has to happen. Okay? So getting back to why Calgary got it, despite their, you know, it's not the worst stadium in the world. I mean, Edmonton's, they need $200 million worth of renovations inside around the concourses so bad, I guess, and washrooms and everything. I mean, the last Grey Cup, it was the Western Final, they were pissing in the washrooms. They were so drunk, it was brutal. I've never saw anything so gross in all my life. But anyway, that's when Edmonton won the Grey Cup when Riley was there. But anyway, so here's the problem. Here's why Calgary got it, because BC's not going to get it again. They just had it this year, the 100th Grey Cup, the 111th Grey Cup in Hamilton had it 2 years. You know, they're not going to get it. The Argonauts, they're going to renovate, put 45,000 seats in for the World Cup. So they can't. And Ottawa's going to tear down the north. I think it's the north stands, coming down to build a new, brand new stadium on that side. They're going to only have one side of the stadium. That's all they're going to have. That's not going to be good for attendance, and it's going to be brutal, brutal on TV. So they can't. They couldn't bid because they could get a Grey Cup in Ottawa. So Toronto can, Ottawa can. Hamilton already had two, and so you have the Toronto's out. Hamilton's out, Ottawa's out, and that's it. Toronto, yeah, Ottawa, Hamilton. In Montreal, yeah, of course, 4 teams in it because of the Big O renovation. So they're out. BC's not going to get it again because they just had it. Saskatchewan just had it 2 years. They're not going to get it. They had it last year. So basically, you know, that's it. You got Calgary and Edmonton. And the Bombers are getting it next year, so that's it. That's why Calgary got it, and they were the best bid. And they got the new BMO Center there. And so that's going to be a good thing downtown. And they're going to involve the Stampede and the Stampede grounds, and no, they're going to, and you know, they can jazz up the stadium somewhat. They're going to have to, the old stadium. The last Grey Cup was fantastic, Calgary, that I went to. It was fantastic, 2009. Keith Urban, the halftime show was fantastic. This is going to be even better in 2026, I can guarantee you. And you hear some announcements of things they're going to do for the stadium. They're going to put more skyboxes in than they had last time, the 2029. That's good. So, apparently they're going to go, they probably don't want to put too many new back seats in because they're going to lose attendance, but they're talking about going from 35, it's a little over 35 to 40,000 for the 2023, but they can still do it. Even put the lower bowl part around, put back seats in, and you know, and put plastic benches, not backs, and the other ones all the way up to the top. And anyway, more sky boxes, and you know, and do some work when the concourses inside, widen them, do, you know, some renovations there and some washrooms, jazz it up, and maybe like a rum hut or something like that. Like they have, like some more gathering area. I mean, they were doing that better in Calgary last time I was out there, but even make it even better. But you're going to see some improvements, and some good improvements, and it'll be a great cup in 2026. Good for Calgary Stampeders, and I hope they have a better team, but they're bringing an American, Walker, quarterback, back in the States. They should go after Alexander, okay? And, okay, so we're going to get into the semi and the Western and Eastern finals, okay? In the semi-final, Ottawa came to play the second half, first half. They didn't play well there. Not a bad crowd in Toronto. Didn't get anybody in on the upper deck on the other side, but they had a pretty good crowd there. I thought it was pretty good. It would have been the Eastern final. They would have packed it like last time. They almost sold it out against the Alouettes, who beat them. But in the game in Saskatchewan semifinal, it was half empty, I thought. Maybe a little over half full, but it wasn't good. You know, their attendance is terrible. It's been all year except for Labor Day. They sold out. It's not good for Stadium 30, a brand new stadium, state of the art in Saskatchewan. $33,500, cost almost $300 million at the time. So they're not doing well at all in attendance, and you know, it's not good. So Ambrosie didn't get their vote, but they beat BC easily. It was a terrible game to watch. BC were terrible. BC Lions are no good because of Canadian ratio. Stampeders no good because of Canadian ratio. Too many weak players that are guaranteed their spots, roster, and starting spots, so you can't play the best players. You can't recruit the best players, and so what do you expect? You can't. How can you have a professional 3-down professional football league in the CFL without allowing the best available players to start and play at every position for an entire CFL game? How? Well, there's the result. You see the result. 70% of the teams are no good. You know, what do you got? You had Montreal. You had, now, Toronto lost Kelly, we're going to go over that, and Winnipeg. And Montreal became too good too soon, and the last 5, 6 years didn't play very good. Only won 2, I think, tied 1 of the last, I don't know, 7 games or something. I believe that was it. So I'll talk about what happened. I'll talk to you right now in the semifinal, and it was a sold-out crowd. And Montreal had 6 turnovers. They sucked. They sucked. They stomped the place out, and Tony Fajardo dropped the ball 10-yard line. The Argonauts lost Chad Kelly at the end. He broke his tibia. You know, he's done. Probably done. 9 months. He will. They have to go after probably Vernon Adams or something. I guess the Stampeders aren't going. I don't really want them to go after them. I'd rather go after Alexander's. Not going to be there in Montreal. He's a starter. He's a starter. So someone's going to go after him. So I don't know what's going to happen next year, but in the Western final, Winnipeg sold out. They killed Saskatchewan, killed them. It was brutal. It was brutal. It wasn't a great game, but it was great for Winnipeg. And Collaros, Collaros is throwing. He's a real bona fide CFL quarterback. He's going to go in the Hall of Fame. Bombs to Lawler. He had 3 touchdowns, and he just killed. I mean, Saskatchewan looked terrible. And they can't bring back Harris. He's done. Come on, he's 39 years old next year. He's not good enough anymore. I mean, yeah, he had some good players. You know, some good players, but same thing. Canadian ratio, you get injuries, you're finished. Okay, so this is the Canadian ratio is killing the CFL because you can't even play. Even if you had better Americans, right, better receivers, you can't even play them. You have to play weaker Canadian receivers. And yeah, the Canadian receivers are getting somewhat better, but you have to be able to play your best players. So if they're all American receivers, you got to be able to play the best. If they're all the best linemen are American, you have to be able to play your best. If the best defensive back are American, you have to be able to play your best. Same with O-lineman. Protect your quarterback. You can't. That's another reason that Canadian ratio is total imbalance in salaries, because they demand way more money to Canadian players. Even if they're not good enough, they're not, no business being a CFL team. They have to start them. They have to start. Like Lawrence in Montreal was no good, and other Canadian linemen that are way overpriced, getting over $200,000, that are basically no good. They can't protect the quarterbacks. That's why the play is too many 2-and-outs in the CFL. Way too many outs, 2-and-outs. I'm getting an interesting thing I want to talk about right now is I saw, talking about 2-and-outs, and talking about my CFL red zone rule. Now we're going to talk about, I want to talk about a little more here, especially with the introduction. Listen. I had an average of 54.8. That's a base 18% increase with my CFL red zone rule. 50 more touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams. But the CFL in 2021 only had 51% average percentage touchdown score in the CFL. Imagine. And now they had an uptick. They averaged around the same at 54.8, but they went up 3.8% to 56.9. I got the numbers yesterday. Got the numbers mainly because 2 teams were high, like in the early 70s, I think it was, and one was 65, one was 70, 72 or something. But the other ones were pretty good, around my average, a little higher, 57, I believe. 2 were 57.1. If you check it out on the stats, you see it on the stats, CFL stats on the CFL site. And then one was 49, and one was just slightly over 50, I believe, or anyway, the average 56.9. How you just add them all up and you divide it by 9 and you get 56.9. So there was a bit of up to 3.8. But compare it with my CFL red zone rule, okay, the numbers, it's not even comparable. So that means about approximately 8 or 9 more touchdowns, not 50. So that's like less than a touchdown per team more in the red zone with a 3.8% increase on 54.8, which is around the average. They average consistently. If you go over say a 6, 7, 8 year, even 10-year periods, averaging around that. So they were up a little over their average, and it's been 51. It's been less than 54, and it's been a little higher than 54.8, and now it's 54.6 at 3.8. But still, that's nothing compared with my CFL red zone rule, what it'll bring to the table, and what it will do if it was wisely adopted by the CFL. The features 10 super selling features and benefits that are compelling and stunning. Numbers, data numbers, and that's one of them. The 18% guarantee at 54.8% of an average percent of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams. My SPYDER CFL red zone rule will deliver, not only deliver, it will kick ass. A guaranteed 18% increase of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams. Okay, resulting in 50 more touchdowns scored in the red zone. Not 8, not 9, but 3.8%. And they'll never hit like 60 and 65 and 63, 64 like my rule will hit. I mean, it's not even inconceivable that it could hit like 70%. Imagine. See, seriously. I mean, and like have 70 more touchdowns scored in the red zone. I don't know, I have to go back and check my data, my numbers, my presentation, and give you accurate numbers. But I'm going to do that next session just to just to reiterate, just to finalize what I just said, I'll give you the exact numbers, okay? But I just went over here, I'll give you exact ones to verify it. So, because I'm not a person I call a spade, I give you the truth, the facts. I don't want to bullshit you around like Randy and Bozy. Bullshitter Randy and Dozy and Bozy. No time left for you. You're fired in Bozy. You're gone. Who's going to be the next commissioner? Who's going to be? That's the thing. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? You can't have a guaranteed Canadian racial alignment or a guaranteed Canadian racial, and certainly not Glenn Souther. Are you kidding me? You need somebody that has a business background. You need somebody that's not biased. Canadian players that wasn't a Canadian racial player. We don't need any more in Bozies, right? Okay, that fought the CFL in court when they wanted to get rid of Canadian ratio. Naturally and logically, like every other successful professional league, sports league that want to play for their fans, the best available players in every position for entire game. What do you expect? That's what they want. Okay, look at the NHL. That's why the NFL have 36 top Canadian players. They want the best, even if it's 36 top Canadian players. Okay, the CFL has to do the same. The Canadian Players Association is going to be abolished. The CFL owners, okay, with a new commissioner, got to take them down. They got to shut them down. Lock them out, shut them down, and get rid of it. Okay, because then with my CFL Red Zone rule, with allowing the best available players to play in the CFL, then you're going to have a product to sell. And by the way, another reason Randy Ambrosi got fired too, the one-year contracts, he's all for the Canadian players, because the Canadian players want to go to the NFL every year, get out of their one-year contracts, and look at all the free agents, more than the American players, for God's sake, want to go to the NFL. I'm not kidding you. And that's why the Canadian Players Association that are overruled, like they control the CFL because they have 465 members, majority, they wanted to go to the NFL as much and more in the NFL, the American players, because yes, that's why they're one-year contracts. You can't have one-year contracts. You can't have 35, 40 free agents every year on a CFL team. That's why the CFL is in trouble. The Canadian ratio, the one-year contracts, the lack of practice, less than 5 hours, like 4.5. That's 4.5 hours. That's counting transportation time and meeting session time. Can you imagine that? Like, all these are reasons why the Canadian ratio, the one-year contracts, the lack of practice, or the Canadian Flag League, CFL, Canadian Flag League, all the friggin' flags, the hash mark, stupid hash mark rule. Get them hash marks back. That's why they're missing field goals and hitting uprights close. Get it back. And so many tune-outs and short little passes. Oh yeah, Randy said the hash mark rule. Yeah, more supposed to reduce tune-outs. He said in big plays, there are less big plays, way less big, and way more tune-outs. Which, by the way, and see magnified more in the red zone, which my CFL red zone will completely eliminate. No more two-down football stops in the red zone. No more. And no more boring, predictable, non-eventful, easy chip-chop field goals in the red zone or slightly outside the red zone, depending on where the second down stop was made in the red zone. No more. No more. No more. Gone with my CFL red zone roll. And guaranteed an 18% increase of touchdowns, 50 more touchdowns in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams with my CFL red zone rule. Oh yeah, Randy, your hash mark rule. And by the way, go on my Facebook page. There's 10 super features and benefits, key selling feature of my CFL red zone rule. Will blow Randy and Bruce, these hash mark rule, gimmicky little hash mark rule out of the water. And Dozy and Bozy, you're out in your ass. You're fired. Get out of here. Anyway, we need a new commissioner, not a Canadian racial alignment commissioner or a Canadian racial player commissioner, a real commissioner that knows how to promote and market the CFL. And by the way, you have all these empty seats, get into colleges and the high schools and minor football, bring them in, give them a deal. They bring their father, like give them a ticket for 15, 20 bucks. They sit with their father. If they pay regular price or discount the father and family's price by 25, 30%. That's how you do it. Fill the stadiums. You need my SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule. You need to get rid of the Canadian ratio. You need to get rid of the one-year contracts. You need to practice You need to practice more. And you need to bring in, you know what you got to do? And I hope in pros you got to do the same shit this year in the Grey Cup. Your stupid CFL, stupid logo at center field when the Grey Cup logo should be at center field. The 100th Grey Cup logo for BC should be at center field. But you got to do the same bullshit with your ugly, ugly duckling CFL logo that stinks. That's got to go. Okay? And Bozy. Okay? And where are the CFL logos at center field in the end zone? I'll tell you, in Calgary, listen to me, with your new turf, you better not, because I can't believe the semi-pro team is going to, women's team is going to play soccer at McMahon Stadium. You better not get rid of Calgary's logos at center field and in the end zone. Let me tell you, the CFL needs to have team logos at center field in every CFL stadium in the end zone. They need to dress it up. Montreal, your end zones look, they stink. Same at Hamilton, they stink. And in BC, you have it in white. Come on, pay them money. Whoever, pay them. Pay them off, whatever. Pay them, give them money to put your logos, to screw the soccer leagues. Come on, the CFL pay more, they should pay more, and if they don't, they pay more for rent. So you can do what you have to do, dress up and market your product and sell your product and bring in my Spider CFL Red Zone roll and get rid of the one-year contracts and get rid of the Canadian ratio and practice more than 4.5 hours and stop this Canadian flag league bullshit. And thank God, and Bozy's gone, and Bozy, you're fired! And bring in a commissioner that's not a Canadian ratio player, okay? And let's get the job done, and let's really sell our game with the best rule that the CFL could ever adopt. The biggest, the most entertaining, that's full of drama, the most exciting rule in the history of the CFL, and probably of all professional football, because of what it will do. And it will make CFL stadiums soar and roar throughout the CFL and pack them with Spider CFL Red Zone roll. Let's go do it. We have an opportunity now. We've got to do what I went over in this session. It's got to happen. Check you on Saturday for a preview for the Grey Cup, okay? 100th Grey Cup in Vancouver. Spider, Spider, Spider. Here comes Spider CFL Red Zone roll. Check you later. Thanks for your support. Brad, I'll read your